Hello students, I am teacher Svetlana, and in our today's lecture we will learn about fertilization and its significance along with the embryonic development, which is covered in the chapter Reproductions in Lower and Higher Animals. Fertilization. Students, sexual reproduction primarily involves formation and fusion of gametes. Fertilization is the latter process which involves fusion of the haploid male and the female gametes, resulting in the formation of a diploid zygote, which is 2N. Like in other mammals, in humans, the process of fertilization is internal and it usually takes place in the ampulla of the fallopian tube, that is the uterine tube. The fertilized egg or the zygote will develop into an embryo, and this process occurs within the uterus. This here is the image of the process of fertilization. You can see this is the ovum and this is the sperm, and it comes in contact with the ovum and through its head region tries to penetrate the zona pellucida region of the ovum, and once it enters, it releases the egg, and then you have the fusion of the egg nucleus and the sperm nucleus. So now further we will see in detail what are the steps that occur in this entire process of fertilization. Students, the mechanism of fertilization. Semen is released during ejaculation that has sperms and some secretions. The coagulated semen now undergoes liquefaction and sperms become active. The mechanism of fertilization is as follows. So these are the important steps in the process of fertilization. First is the movement of the sperm towards the egg. Then is the entry of the sperm into the egg. We have the acrosome reaction, activation of the ovum, and finally fusion of the egg and sperms. If you have a look at this image, it highlights these important events in the process of fertilization. Each of this we will see in detail. Students, the first step in the mechanism of fertilization is the movement of the sperm towards the egg. It involves capacitation of the sperms reaching the vagina. So here what happens is as many as 50% of the sperms are demotilized, broken, destroyed, and only a few remaining sperms are undergoing capacitation. Now this capacitation is a process of preparing the sperm for fertilization. This process requires 5 to 6 hours. The acrosome membrane becomes thin, calcium enters the sperm, and their tail begins to show rapid whip/movement. So as a result of capacitation, sperms become extra active and they begin to start moving upwards from the vagina to the uterus and to the oviduct. The prostaglandins activate the sperms. The vestibular secretions of the female also enhance sperm motility. These sperms swim at an average speed of 1.5 to 3.0 mm per minute. Sperms reach up to the ampulla as a result of their own swimming and partly by the contraction of the uterus and the fallopian tubules stimulated by oxytocin of the female. After capacitation, the sperms may reach the ampulla within 5 minutes. Sperms can remain viable for 24 to 48 hours and ovum only about 24 hours. So this is the first step where the sperm is preparing for the process of fertilization. The next step, student, is the entry of the sperm into the egg. Though many sperms reach the ampulla, but only a single sperm fertilizes the ovum. A sperm after reaching the egg or the ovum comes to lie against it. Its acrosome releases lysine, that is hydrocolloidase, and corona penetrating enzymes. They separate and dissolve the cell of the corona radiata. So the sperm head passes through the zona pellucida of the eggs. Have a look at this image here. Can you see this? Step 1, the sperm makes the contact with the egg. So here this step takes place where the sperm attaches to the egg, and then you have the acrosome release and react with the zona pellucida. They release the hydrolytic enzymes here. The zona pellucida has fertilizing receptor proteins, that is ZP3 and ZP2. The fertilizing binds to specific acid protein that is called as anti-fertilizing of the sperm. This brings about attraction of the sperm to the egg to enhance fertilization. So this is happening in step 1 and step 2. Fertilizing anti-fertilizing interaction is species specific. The fertilizing anti-fertilizing reaction is also called compatibility reactions. So this is the initial part when the sperm enters into the egg. This is followed by the acrosomal process, which we will see ahead. Then students, we have the acrosome reactions after the sperm has come in contact with the egg. As the sperm head touches the zona pellucida in the animal pole region, its acrosome covering ruptures to release lytic enzymes, acrosine or zona lysine. They act on the zona pellucida at the point of contact. Here, this step occurs in step 2, that the enzymes are released and they act here on the zona pellucida, which is called as the point of contact. This causes egg reaction. Now, what is this egg reaction? A small fertilization cone or a cone of reception is formed on the egg membrane. Here, can you see a small cone being formed? This cone is called as the cone of reception. The sperm head comes in contact with this cone. It results in production of a weak wave of depolarization. The plasma membrane of both the cells dissolve at the point of contact. So here, when you have this cone being formed, you can see that both the membranes are getting dissolved. The sperm nucleus and the centrioles enter the egg while the other part remains outside. So you can see that here the sperm nucleus and the head is entering into the ovary, and the remaining part remains outside. Now, as soon as the sperm head touches the vitelline membrane, a cortical reaction gets activated, changing the vitelline membrane into a fertilization membrane by deactivating the sperm receptors of zona pellucida. So remaining receptors of the zona pellucida are inactivated. A distinct pre-vitelline space is created around the fertilization membrane. This prevents any further entry of other sperms into the egg. Can you see here the vitelline layer is now made impermeable to the other sperms. Now, why this is done? To avoid any other sperm entering into the egg, that is polyspermy is avoided. Then we have the activation of the ovum. The ovum before fertilization was at metaphase 2 state. When it comes in contact with the sperm head, the vitelline membrane of the egg, it gets activated to resume and completes its meiosis too. With this, it gives out the second polar body. The germinal vesicles organize into female pronucleus. At this stage, it is a true ovum or the egg. So, the ovum is activated, and then we have the fusion of the egg and the sperm. The coverings of the male and the female pronuclei degenerate, allowing the chromosomal pairing. This results in the formation of a synkaryon by the process called as syngamy or karyogamy. The zygote is thus formed. The proximal centriole received from the sperm helps in formation of the synkaryon spindle and the cleavage of the cell into two blastomeres. So here you come to end of the process of fertilization, where there is fusion of the two nuclei. So let us have a look at the fertilization and its significance. This image here gives you all the events that occur in the process of fertilizations that we have just discussed. Let us look at the significance. Secondary oocyte completes the process of oogenesis and is transformed into a mature ovum. So this is the first significance of fertilization. Then the second, the diploid chromosome number is restored in the zygote by the process of syngamy. The ovum lacks the centriole necessary for further division, and is received from the sperm during fertilization. Fertilization involves fusion of male and female gametes from the two parents. It results in variation, which is a significant step to evolution. Sex of the offspring is also determined. Students, let us have a look at embryogenesis. After syngamy, the zygote that is formed, it undergoes divisions to form the embryo. So the zygote undergoes a repeated cell divisions called as cleavage. Cleavage starts as the zygote moves down from the oviduct to the uterus 3 to 5 days after fertilization. This zygote develops into ball-like structure of cell with a central cavity. This is called as the blastocyte or the blastula stage. So here in this image you can see the events that occur during cleavage. So when the zygote passes to the fallopian tubes, this process of cleavage starts where there is rapid mitotic division. This is the first cleavage which gives you two cell state. The resultant daughter state is cell is called as the blastomere. Then the second cleavage will give you 4 blastomeres. It is a 4 cell stage. Then the third cleavage will give you a 8 cell stage. And then you have the morula, which is due to successive divisions, 16 cell stages reached. So here till the morula stage, it reaches the uterus at about 4 to 6 days after fertilization. After cleavage, we have brastulation. During brastulation, hollow and multicellular blastocyte is formed from the 16 to 32 cell stage of morula. Blastocyte now reaches uterus and starts absorbing glycogen-rich uterine milk. The outer layer of these cells is called as trophoblast, or they are also called as trophoblastic cells, while the inner cell is known as the embryoblast or the embryoblastic cells. Size of the blastula doubles from 0.15 mm to 0.30 mm. Due to the absorption of glycogen-rich uterine milk, the trophoblast cells become flat and the cavity is formed, which is called as the blastocyte cavity. Then you have the cells of rubera. These are the cells of trophoblast which are in contact with the embryonal lobe. Blastocyte becomes fully developed by the end of the 7th day. The trophoblastic cells secrete HCG, that is human chronicogonadotrophin hormone. This prevents degradation of the corpus luteum. Therefore, the corpus luteum continues to secrete progesterone and estrogen, which helps continuation of the growth of the endometrium wall, which causes menstrual cycle to stop. Now, as the blastocyte reaches the uterus, trophoblastic cell invade the endometrium wall and utilize the nutrients from it for its growth and multiplication. This invasion establishes the embryo within 6 to 9 days in the uterus, which is called as implantation. So implantation is the process of embedding the blastocyte in the uterine endometrium for further gestation. On the 7th or the 10th day after fertilization, implantation takes place. Embryo is completely buried into the endometrium. So with successful implantation, trophoblast forms chorion membrane, which later becomes part of the placenta. Then the last step is gastrulation. Formation of gastrula from the blastocyte is called as gastrulation. It starts at about 8 days after fertilization. So within 20 days, embryonic membrane becomes clearly distinguished from the embryo. The amnion is a thin membrane filled with amniotic fluid that eventually acts or surrounds the embryo and acts as a shock absorbent. Now there are two important events that occur in gastrulation. The first is the differentiation of the blastomere. The 3 germinal layers are formed by the rearrangement of the blastomeres. So you have the embryonic disc present between the yolk sac, and the amnion gives rise to the embryo, and the amniotic disc differentiates into 3 germinal layers, that is ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. This is known as gastrulation. And the second event is the morphogenetic movements. These are the different types of movements of the cell to reach their definite place in the embryo. Embryo shows distinct form at about 4 to 5 weeks. Only after 6 weeks, embryo can be distinguished as the human embryo and is now termed as fetus. The further process after gastrulation is called as organogenesis. Thank you, students.